The northern Pacific coast of Peru contains some of the most important sites for archaeological exploration. A major center of pre-Inca cultures, it was the inhabitants of those northern river valleys that greatly influenced the emergence and development of the Inca Empire. The Moche, famous for constructing many of the early temple pyramids in Peru, inhabited the northern coastal region for 600 years until their fall around 700 AD. It wasn't until 1200 AD, with the emergence of the Chimu, who were later conquered by the Inca Empire in 1470 AD, that there was evidence of an organized society inhabiting the northern Pacific coastal region of Peru. This led to the question, what happened during those 500 years that separated the fall of the Moche and the emergence of the Chimu and Inca empires? Did the citizens of the once flourishing Moche just simply disappear or disband? Or was there another civilization whose traces still remain undiscovered beneath the river valleys separating the Andean Mountains and the Pacific Ocean? With 200 miles of Pacific coastline boasting a rich and fertile network of river valleys, the northernmost part of Peru was an ideal region to support agricultural productivity. This is a vital clue to archaeologists because agricultural productivity means the ability to support large populations, which, together with the abundant fishing resources of the Pacific and the easily exploitable ores in the surrounding Andean foothills, creates the ideal environment for important cultural development and the rise of complex societies. The northern coast has been the nesting ground for numerous successions of complex societies. Among this region is a 25-mile river valley extending from the Pacific Ocean to the Andean foothills, known as La Leche. Occupying a fertile portion of La Leche is an old agricultural estate or hacienda named Batan Grande. Here, the land is scattered with many large monumental structures known as huacas, meaning mounds measuring up to 100 meters long and 30 to 40 meters high.
Batan Grande region was known at that time for a number of things. One was that it had extensive dry, thorny forest, but it was also known for very large-scale, intensive grave looting. There were numerous holes hand-dug by grave looters. Also, there were numerous trenches dug by bulldozers. Rich tombs usually reflect the presence of rich or sophisticated, complex society or cultural development.
Despite wide-scale plundering, Dr. Izumi Shimada believed that not only would there be many tombs yet to be uncovered, but that hidden within them could be the remains of Moche descendants. It was these descendants who would settle in Batan Grande and establish a new civilization, a civilization that Shimada would name the Sican, meaning Temple of the Moon. After a process of extensive surveying, aerial photographs, and radar surveys to prepare for fieldwork, Dr. Shimada and his team had all the information they needed to begin their search, including the specific location of many tombs yet to be looted or discovered. To further understand and study the Sican culture, Shimada assembled an interdisciplinary team of specialists, including mining engineers, geologists, DNA specialists, historians, metalsmiths, botanists, chemists, and anthropologists. After a decade of intensive surveys concurrent with the excavation of ancient houses, trash pits, and ancient mines, Shimada and his team had the groundwork complete to piece together a picture of Sican culture. However, this was only the beginning of what they would discover, for what was to follow was one of the most important finds in archaeological history. Located 10 kilometers north of Tukume, Uwakaloro represents the first Sican burial site scientifically excavated, leading to the discovery of 1.2 tons of grave artifacts. With the chamber lying at the bottom of a 10.7-meter shaft, the time to excavate Uwakaloro was a lengthy process, a process that began more than a decade before the excavation of Uwakaloro would commence.
The Uwakaloro tombs that we excavated in 1991 and 92 was found back in 1978. As I examined hundreds and thousands of looters' holes, I came to realize that there were holes that the looter had left behind unfinished. And I learned quickly that because of the depth of these holes, groundwater would come out and preventing great looter to go any further. In 1983, when the historic El Nino event took place, a flood completely buried this hole, along with many other looters' holes. If you had gone there, you would have not recognized the landscape. It was completely flat, everything was filled in. The only thing you saw was a bunch of tiny trees growing out. What I had to do in order to excavate this tomb was to wait for when groundwater level was low enough to allow our excavation to reach down to the bottom. In 1990, I felt that the timing was correct, it was right. The groundwater level had reached down to about 16 meters below surface. The day the gold piece first showed up, I said to my dig foreman, local man, Miguel, that looks like a gold. And Miguel simply, very quietly said to me, yes, that does look like gold, Dr. Shima. The initial reaction was, actually, as I said, quite calm, and I think it was largely because we had pretty much anticipated that these objects would show up. What we did not know, however, was that how many pieces would come out.
Uwakaloro held more than 100 gold objects, including a headdress, crowns, head ornaments, bracelets, ear spools, and rattles, as well as pottery and rock murals. Further investigation of the tomb also led to the discovery of a skeleton, estimated to be a man in his mid-40s, as well as the remains of 2 younger women and 2 children. Due to the large number of gold artifacts found with these skeletal remains, it's believed that the man may have been a master goldsmith. By understanding the context surrounding a find, archaeologists are able to reconstruct a more accurate picture of past human societies. Upon initial discovery of an artifact, archaeologists immediately record its matrix, which consists of all the materials surrounding the artifact, such as gravel, clay, or sand, as well as record its horizontal and vertical position or provenience. Another key to fully uncover the clues contained within each artifact is through the comparison of its exact location to that of other artifacts, skeletal remains, pottery, and rock murals. By determining the context of a find, an archaeologist can gain further insight into each item's function and meaning, as well as identify the type of location the artifact is resting in, whether it be a burial tomb, a home, or a workshop. After careful extraction of each artifact from its resting place, they're meticulously measured, recorded, and logged, noting perhaps further details such as icons, color, and materials. The artifacts are transported to a research facility for further study, restoration, and examination. The time required to properly restore some of the Uwakaloro artifacts was lengthened due to their heavily corroded and crumpled condition. Buried at the bottom of deep, dirt-filled shafts, many pieces were flattened beyond recognizable form. Thanks to the discoveries made by the Sican Archaeological Project, we now know that the Sican were responsible for bringing the Bronze Age to Peru. As masters of metallurgy, they produced many of Peru's metal artifacts. Artifacts such as tools, household utensils, and ornamental goods were produced from Sican bronze, an alloy of copper and arsenic, as well as gold, which was reserved for the social elite. Before the Sican Archaeological Project, many previously discovered metal artifacts and ornamental goods were believed to have been made by the Inca Empire. Now, after the in-depth research and excavation of Huaca Loro and numerous other Sican sites, we now know that many of these items, especially those made of gold, were in fact crafted by the Sican. So if the Sican were so influential in the development of both Inca and Peruvian society, why have we not heard of the Sican until now? Up until the beginning of the Sican Archaeological Project, most artifacts excavated in Peru were obtained through looting. The tragedy with looting is that when looters dig up a site indiscriminately in search for riches and gold, all the contextual information is lost. Even unwanted materials that looters toss aside are difficult to study because they've moved it from their primary context. The aim of archaeology is to accurately reconstruct a picture of the past, explaining the reasons for change or why past societies lived the way they did. Running for nearly 25 years, the Sican Archaeological Project on the north coast of Peru is one of the longest-running archaeological field projects in South America. Directed by Dr. Izumi Shimada, it has rewritten history as well as produced an in-depth understanding of a forgotten people whose influence began hundreds of years before the Inca Empire. Rediscover the Sican, their story and their lives, a centuries-long missing link to Peru's historical past.